So, welcome to the Unnamed Podcast.
I kind of like it. Unnamed.
Unnamed Podcast.
Unnamed and...
Unsolicited.
Oh.
Unnamed and unsolicited. Anyway, so today we're just going to talk a little bit about if you are getting into a spot where you're ready to open a bar and you're a first-time bar owner, kind of the things that you need to have lined up in order to make sure that you start successfully as far as negotiating leases, finding a location, funding, backing, whatever that looks like, things like that, your niche. These are all major questions and major things that you have to figure out before you can even start. So I think that we have been fortunate where we have, had people reach out to us and we have, found some really good spots and made some really good deals. So throughout the years, we've, negotiated 4 different leases here for up to, 10 years at a time with some really good terms. So that's some stuff that we want to share with you guys to make sure that you guys get set up for success, because that's the main point of this, is to really give the ins and outs of getting ready to open a bar. Mm-hmm. The one thing that I would start with is if you are looking to open a bar and you have never been in the service industry, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't.
Bad idea.
I think that's just what to lead with.
Right.
So if you have never been in the service industry, as far as, managing a bar, bartending, serving, or anything like that, you can just cut us off now, because it would be doomsday unless you had a really good partner that had several really long years of experience in it. I do not recommend 2 buddies that like to drink beer open a bar. And that is actually, I'll let you tell a little bit about that. That's actually how we acquired Matt Hatter Richardson, is because 2 brothers wanted to open a bar that liked beer.
So remember that story? Yeah, those 2 brothers who just really wanted to open a bar together, and that they've always wanted to. I think they were from Chicago, correct? If I'm correct.
Yeah, school teachers.
They're from Chicago, and then just one was a teacher. One, I'm not gonna lie what his other job was, but 2 brothers wanted a bar. They decided to have 30 taps and wine only. And it's just like, all right, cool. One, when we originally walked in there, I saw a kitchen. I was like, all right, they're not using the kitchen. Why'd they choose this place? Because I feel like location is a big thing as well, too. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you're going to choose to own a bar with no service industry background, with no hospitality background, why'd you do that?
It's a good way to light a bunch of money on fire.
It's just like, yeah.
We actually found that bar on Facebook Marketplace.
Right.
That's wild.
That
I actually did not know that.
Facebook is not dead.
Facebook is not dead.
Yeah, right. And then I guess,
go ahead.
But it's like I said, like kind of what you touch on what you were talking about, like if you don't have that like experience in talking to somebody, going up to a table, going up to a bar top, being a host, no matter what it is, being in the kitchen, just stay away. I'll just be honest with you, because you can't interact with anybody the proper way. To me, I mean, I think you can, like, your parents can raise you to have great manners, but you gotta have great manners and thick skin for this industry, because they will walk you out the door real fast. They will make you cry. I've never cried, don't get me wrong, but I've watched people.
I've seen them cry.
You've never seen me cry. I've seen people like make hostess cry, servers cry, bartenders. I've seen grown men cry over spilt milk at sometimes, but like it's like they're at their boiling point,
and they're not even owners,
right?
Yeah.
They're not even the owners.
That's a whole other thing.
The ownership side, man, is just like you got to be able to come in and to back your employees on those situations like that. You got to be able to talk that guest down, talk that employee down. If 2 employees are going after it, you got to be able to keep them separated to help them understand what they're doing wrong, to grow from it and not lose them. Especially if you have 2 really good employees. If you have that could be like if those 2 employees are the anchor of your business just walked out the door. I mean, I guess it's kind of tougher to say,
I think that the experience you get is just something that you
completely different.
You can't go to college for. You can't buy. Exactly like you were saying. It's just the experience. If you don't have it and you don't know it, I mean, you've learned it the hard way. But she had a great team that had decades of service industry and management experience, and even you with your fine dining experience.
Right. It's like even with like the don't go to bartending school, whatever you do, because that is not the way you're going to learn to talk to people in this world. Yeah, it's like you're not going to be able to talk to people that way. Like that, I mean, I guess it's the proper way, but you got to find like your own like style of talking to people, like your own spiel, doing what somebody else is do. One, you turn into a robot. Two, you just don't feel real whatsoever. And I tried that a little bit, and just all right, this isn't working out.
Yeah.
And that's not even mentioning just like the business side of it, like food costs, labor costs, inventory. It's stuff that people tend to forget if that's not what they're used to seeing.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned in the last episode that without partners, you would have known. It was a dream of yours, like a real life dream of hers, but she knew better to do that. I always relate it to as I wouldn't be so arrogant to sit down in front of KP's computer and think that I could do the marketing side of anything.
No.
That's really what I think. Stupidity and arrogance is kind of what I think that it comes down to when people want to do this. It's not your average business. It's not opening a laundromat or something like that. It's definitely not your average business, and it is a very shrewd business at times. So that would be my first one. I think the second one. What do you guys think? What's the next most important point you think?
Location.
Location.
Yeah,
I like it.
Location. Finding a really good location, and knowing your niche in a sense, and your demographic, and what's around you, and what other businesses are around you. I mean, you really have to know the location and what you're getting into. And people are everything. If you don't have your following, or even if you don't have your following, can you create your following in that area that you're wanting to strive and thrive in? Are those your people, And then, along with the location, what previous business was there before? How did they do, And then your realtor is everything too. So you can look for locations all day long, but you have to find a realtor that you're going to create a relationship with, who is going to find a location for you that's maybe not even hit the market yet, So, and we were fortunate enough to do that with Seared. So we got a really good location there. And
even before it hit market.
Even
Good job,
before it
Bailey.
hit the market.
And I think Seared is the perfect example of location. And, we as a team have always, all of our businesses are like that neighborhood feel type business.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's some people that would look at where Seared is going to be and think that's kind of a little off the beaten path, or not your normal place for a restaurant, but it goes right back to the heart of everything we do, which is having that neighborhood feel. And it's right in smack dab in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah, and two really big up and coming developing areas with the River District and then the new White Settlement Road there. So
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, location's definitely everything. And I think you mentioned it for a second that when I opened Mad Hatter, I had never asked this question to anyone else, but I got asked probably 100 times the first month that I let people know that I was opening a bar. What's your niche? What's your niche? What's your niche going to be? That was just, for whatever reason, the number one question. It wasn't what are you going to name it? It was what are you going to be? Who are you going to be out there? And that was a tough question for me because at first we were so excited about just finding the bar that we really didn't know what it was going to be, which I think is kind of cool and but kind of scary at the same time. But like you were talking about with demographic and location, and finding that location, you can't open, a sports bar right next to, one that's doing $2-3 million. It just doesn't make sense. It's like opening a coffee shop a block away from Starbucks. That blows my mind. Kudos for the courage that people have to open a Starbucks. But I mean, like the location we looked at down on Carroll Street, that was a coffee shop. You have 4 Starbucks within a half a mile of it. And they wondered why they couldn't figure it out. So again, speaking to what Bailey was talking about, location and demographic is everything. You need to find what's coming up and what's around you. That is so important. You don't want to open something in a saturated market and try to be that same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
You're not. You don't want to mirror and copy everybody, because you're asking people to leave them to come to you, and that just it's a big ask.
Yeah.
So
There's pros and cons to having other
sure.
bars around you.
Oh,
you
big-
know,
big pros, big pros.
Yeah, big pros. So it's not necessarily always if there's other bars, don't do it because that's a pro.
no, yeah, you just don't want to match them.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to. You know, we don't want to
Like, give 'em
open.
something
We didn't want to
different.
make everybody. So originally, if you remember, Mad Hatter was an Irish bar because it was Matt's
Supposed
Irish
to be
pub.
Irish pub,
He
mhm.
just never opened it. So you got to keep in mind what's right next door to it.
Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Pug Mahone's and the Abbey Pub.
Yep.
Why on earth would I leave it another Irish pub? One, well, at that time I didn't know that I was 27% Irish. I really didn't. I did my 23andMe
percentage
and
of
found out. So, but even at that, that's not what I wanted to be. You know, it was immediately a neighborhood pub, and actually it wasn't even that. It was just Mad Hatter. And Matt drove by and said, "Chris, I love the name. Absolutely love it. But what the hell are you? Are you a hat shop?
Yeah.
Do you fix hats? Do you sell hats? What are you?"
Love that.
And I was like, man, again, it is just the learning things that you you know, and your what do you call it? Brand and how you put it out
Branding
there. Just
everything.
being a Mad Hatter was bleh.
Yeah.
But Matt said, "Why don't you be the Mad Hatter neighborhood pub?" Done, sold, beautiful.
Love it.
And
just-
look at it now. You know
People
what I
did
mean?
call
It
about
is-
hats before. I remember that. People
Yeah.
did call about hats before.
and so, well, we had a lot of people call about hats.
I-
That's
People
funny
call
Still,
enough.
people call it hatters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hatters, and I'm
There-
like,
there's Mad Hatter, but there are multiple Mad Hatters.
Yeah. Yeah.
oh my God.
So I
Goodness
think
gracious.
niche is a big one, and I think that also falls into a little bit of the marketing. Is that fair to say?
100%.
I mean-
that's your brand. That's your
Yeah.
positioning statement. It's everything.
And I think it is one again. That was the number one question I got. So I think if that doesn't tell you, that's probably one of the most important things is to
Yep.
find out what you're going to be. And touching back on what Jawan said about Mad Hatter Richardson, if you remember when we walked in, guys, there was really nothing on the walls. There was nothing to it. It was just 30 beer taps and some wine glasses here and there, you know, and a counter that looked like you were at like a burger joint.
It was very stale.
Very, very stale. And so us coming in and labeling ourselves a neighborhood pub, we've now really built that little, you know, I mean, midnight's like our busiest sales right now because when people get off work and get done with their shifts, that's where they want to go. And that's a pretty cool feeling, especially for us because we all had that little, you know, especially at Woody's for us, we always had that bar that we went to. You know, it's like that was our spot. To own a bar and be somebody's spot, it's pretty cool, right? So, yeah, your niche and what you're going to be is a massive part of what you want to do or have ready whenever you open a bar. Obviously, your name is a big statement piece, you know, like I just touched on with just being a Mad Hatter. So,
I have a question for you. So your niche, you kind of said you didn't really know what that was going to be. So it just developed. Did it not organically develop? How did, because whenever I've talked to you, you're like, Mad Hatter, I haven't really been so interested. Or, you know, it wasn't anything that just struck your
wasn't.
fancy at all.
no.
So did it just organically develop into our own niche, or how did that happen? Because
So-
I hopped in and I was just ready to go.
yeah. And Mad Hatter had really no relevance to me in my life at the point anyway. The Mad Hatter movie had just come out, the Tim Burton one.
Okay.
It was a big popular one. Y'all remember my ex was a big Tim Burton fan, had the big tattoo and everything. So we were running through names and we were like, Mad Hatter, love it, let's do it. That was the cool story for that. It was nothing exciting.
How's that?
That was literally it. Bearded Lady was one of them, but I didn't know there was a Bearded Lady on Magnolia.
Okay.
But Bearded Lady was for Fernando, actually. Yeah, we wanted to do that for Fernando. And because whatever shift it was a Monday night. Fernando, I was working with Fernando and at that time, and we were trying to think of it. And I'd call him a Bearded Lady sometimes. So anyway, R.I.P. my friend. Yeah, so going back to how it kind of became what it was, if there's an article that got published the first week of me being open, and that actually speaks a lot to it. Coming from the service industry, I wanted to be that bar, like I just described. I wanted to be that bar for everybody to come to and have a good time. So I I basically thought of it as a small New York style pub is how I envision it. During the winter, if you remember, I put coat racks in there. I put a coat rack in there
Yep.
because I wanted people to come in, and I wanted that throw it up, belly up to the bar, because if I could put a fireplace in that place, I mean,
That'd be
that would just
awesome.
set it off the rest of the way to really hone into what I envisioned. I envisioned, this sounds silly, but like a cold winter night, you come in, you're all bundled up, you throw your jacket on. And as y'all know, Mad Hatter's only 980 square foot, so it's very small. So you throw your jacket up on the rack and belly up. The bartender already knows you, and there you are. You're with that little group of people. That was always my vision.
Well, without the fireplace, we did it.
Dude, we did it. We have definitely did it. I always tell people that bar is, if you say square foot per square foot, like you say pound for pound, definitely probably one of the busiest bars in Fort Worth.
Absolutely.
Something we're very proud of. For
Yeah.
sure.
It's definitely special because
It is.
a lot of times I think that some people get intimidated going into bars where it's a bunch of regulars because you kind of, you may feel like you're not invited or wanted to be there.
Yeah.
But like Mad Hatter has this weird thing where even the first day you go, even if you know nobody, within like 5 minutes, you know everybody
sure.
and you're back the next day.
Yep.
Yep.
This
And
is true.
And I think that just kind of comes back to, is it a passion for you? I was obviously very passionate about it, and we all were. I mean, Jawan opened it with me, and KP was a very big part of it as well. So we were all passionate. We all believed in it, and it was what we put our lives into at that point. And so I think, again, going back to, if you don't have that, if you don't know that passion, it's probably not a good idea.
And your why.
Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
are you passionate just because you want to be able to drink for free, which, nobody drinks for free. You're still paying for it on
Absolutely.
the back end. But what's
Yeah.
your actual why?
Yeah. Absolutely. And you've had people say, oh, man, I want to open a bar because...
I can have free pool and free alcohol.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
no, you still pay for it.
Yeah. So...
One way or another. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think, that's a good segue into talking about how important the people you put around you are when opening that bar. Because, like I said, we had 3 successful bars around me, literally sharing a wall with one that does over $100,000 a month. So me opening up that small spot there and trying to have happy hour, I'm battling, just trying to get one person in there. And I mean, I can't tell you how many day after day after day after day I would open up at 2, go sweep, go clean, and then, just throw the light on at 3 like everybody else did. And I wouldn't see anybody till 7, 8 o'clock sometimes. And that somebody might just open the door, see nobody in there, and just close the door. I mean, that happened. I mean, we had $100 or $200 sales nights several times, but it was one of those things, like, just had to stay consistent, had to believe, and it's the grind that you have to put in.
Yeah.
And then, so, everything just kind of obviously slowly got better and better and better and better. But it was also the people that I put around me, Dee, Jawan, Alyssa was one of our opening people. So we had a lot of good people around us, and luckily we had a service industry following that would get some faces in the door from time to time. So it's not easy, even though I had such a strong social presence in the industry, man. And Matt McIntyre told me this one before I opened. He said, Chris, and hear this when I say this, because it is true. I'm telling you guys, it's true. He said, Chris, when you open your bar, the people you think are going to be at your bar top are the ones that will not be there. Your best friends that you drink with at a bar all the time, they will not leave their spots and come to yours. And he was dead right on that. Not saying you guys didn't come in during the weekends, but the every nighters and stuff like that, where I spent my night at Woody's and Poorhouse and stuff like that. Keith spent his nights at Abbey a lot. Not to say he didn't come support. He actually obviously worked there for a little bit. But, man, I would see his car in the parking lot, and he was at Abbey all the time. You know what I mean? And again, not to say he didn't come in support, but he didn't leave his spot. And that was the truth. So that's a hard truth. And that comes to sometimes you have people that want to see you do good, just not better than them, you know? And being a bar owner comes, and you guys will vouch for this, with a lot of jealousy for whatever reason.
Yeah.
A lot of jealousy. People start showing their true colors. I don't know if that's in every other industry, but I think we've all really, really felt and experienced that. So it's not only a financial deal that you need. You have to be ready mentally and physically for a lot of long, hard, dry, heartbreaking hours ahead of you. You know what I mean? It's not a pretty thing at first. Of course, there are the ones that people, but again, these are people that have already owned bars. I was going to say that open a bar and it's just wildly successful. And I think we can attest to Rabbit Hole. I mean, doing the numbers that they do right out of the gate is, if old John from down the street owned that, it definitely would not have done what it did. You know,
Right.
it was because of the decade of work that you guys had put in socializing and building up y'all's business, and people really bought into y'all. So I think if you guys want to speak on the team that you put around you and how important that is, I think that that's really something that drives home for y'all, because y'all were the team. You know,
Yeah, which is kind of like I wouldn't say a hard one, but you just make sure that you have the same people who believe in the same standard, the same thing that you believe in. Like, you know, seeing that regular walk-in door, having their shot and drink ready, seeing that regular walk-in door, knowing what they do for work, just make sure just checking on, hey, how was your day and stuff like that, you know? I mean, make sure the team is somewhat a mold of you is
Absolutely.
it's actually, I feel like it's the biggest thing, because if they don't believe in the business, then you're just dragging somebody along who just wants to make some money, you know? Like,
And they are a reflection of us too.
yeah, obviously they are a
Yeah.
mass reflection of you. Phew. I learned that the hard way in Richardson. Learned the hard. It's like, man, they wear your shirt and you go hang out at another bar. Like, hey, man, your bartender's up here
Yeah.
doing this. Then I love that too, because they, instead of like bashing the business online, they were cool enough to call the bar and like, hey, look, I know you're the owner. I know you. This isn't you. Your bartender's over here hammered, and he's fighting, but he's walking his tab. So I have to drive from Richardson to Rockwall to check on that.
My goodness.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's just one of the bad things. Most people are great, you know, like Rabbit Hole people. I mean, I feel like they follow a lot of like how Bailey and I were over at Mad Hatter. So that's why people still come in there. It's between 7 a.m. and 2 a.m. So there's
We have a lot of day oneers.
yeah, we have a lot of those. And it's just like, and those are people, like Chris said, like your friends and stuff that you don't see a lot. You do see them, but not as much as they go to other bars. But those are the ones that end up becoming your closer friends than your actual friends.
Yeah.
Because I've actually seen more people drive from Rabbit Hole that I met at Rabbit Hole drive to Richardson than I've known people for 10 plus years go to Richardson.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, oh, come to Dallas, watch this Maverick game. Like, why don't you just drive 10 minutes north and come to Richardson? Oh, 12 minutes north.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's a little far. I was like, cool, bro.
That was a big pill for Jawan to swallow. I remember that, because
that was like one of the hardest and annoying things
a
ever.
lot of people left you with empty promises of though, like that's what I said. I mean, you think that those are going to be your ride or dies that you hang out with every day, and that you support as well heavily, are going to be the ones that will do that for
the
you.
moment you stop showing their place, hey man, where you been? You know where I've been.
Yeah. I think a little bit too, I think we could touch on as well, is a little bit on y'all's personal lives, how that has also, as a bar owner, because our phones are on 24 hours a day. And I think that's, as an entrepreneur, for most people. Obviously, you do have some business that are online, maybe that are just done at that time and you don't deal with that. But for us, our phones are on 24/7. And it's not just, they don't call us at 3 o'clock in the morning to give us good news.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you're married, you're engaged, you're navigating, as am I. As am. So,
I really like that.
I would say, and obviously me coming out of an 8.5-year relationship throughout the last 8 years of entrepreneurship, I can speak on that a little bit too. But I would like to hear, it's not just opening a bar. This is your life. It is your baby. It is a constant. And so I think another important point to just touch on for a second is your personal life and how that how that is. And I mean, you were just mentioning about, that people will show you their true colors, and then all of a sudden you own a bar and you're rich and too good for someone.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
But those are the ones that all of a sudden did this whenever you became successful or started that path.
It's like it's never your first name anymore. It's like, hey, this isn't Joel, this isn't KP, this isn't Bailey, this isn't Chris, this is them. They own this. It's, they
Oh my
it's
God.
never
Boy,
just
I
your,
used to tell them.
it's just,
You said that.
it's
You
no longer your name
the
anymore.
nail
Oh
on
yeah, this is my buddy Joel. He owns this. Like,
Yep.
why'd you tell him that?
Yeah,
I-
we don't want people to know.
I
I
used to
don't mind people knowing, but just like I'm still just Joanne, bro.
Yeah, there's some
Like,
things that you're like,
Joanne.
I don't need the world to know that I own this place, like today,
And I
especially
get
when
it.
I'm not working.
If I'm
or-
at like an event where like there are multiple owners that I'm talking with and stuff like that. If it's like if it's a
That
if it's
makes
social like
sense.
networking, cool, I understand that. But
Yeah.
bro, don't tell somebody like, hey, this is Jordan. He owns a bar because I went to the Cowboys game with you.
Yeah.
Like, I watch the Cowboys.
I love this. I love this because I lived this and it drove me nuts. You remember I used to tell you this.
All the time.
You used to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I was never
yeah. I
any
didn't
more.
notice it either, too.
One, I was never
your
Chris.
friend.
I was always Chris Jordan.
Jordan.
And it's, hey, this
Still
is Chris Jordan.
to
He
this
owns
day.
Mad Hatter. I'm like, did he ask?
Yeah.
Like
I'm guilty of that.
I'm just Chris.
I'm also
like,
a TCU
so what
fan.
Do you, what do you do? Like.
Because now you're stuck in the work conversation. I was like, and
That-
you don't know
yes.
me. If I'm out, I'm like, I don't want
And
to talk
I
about work.
appreciate it because I feel like it's obviously it's humbling that they
Right.
want to
Talk to
say
you.
that. Again, I'm not sure why it needs to be said. I don't say, "Hey, this is Kristen. She's a marketing expert." Hey, this is Oscar. He's our camera guy. I don't do. Hey, this is Oscar. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
All right, bro, order the pizza.
and what this may
I
not
will
be
say I'm
true.
a little guilty of this, y'all.
True for everything, but one time I read this deal and it said people ask you what you do to figure out how much respect they're going to give you.
Oof.
And that was a tough one. And
Yeah.
like I heard you just say a second ago, I never, hey, I'm Chris Jordan, I own the Mad Hatter. You know what I mean? Like, never. And the same thing, like, I don't want people to know that. Especially me. I've tried to remove myself so much. I mean, you guys, still important that they know you. But
They treat you completely different.
and I used to tell them all the time, you will no longer be Bailey Batts. You will be Bailey Bat that owns Rabbit Hole. You will no longer be KP. You will be KP that owns Rabbit Hole. That is your name now.
Yeah.
It's also so awkward when you're there and people say, "What do you do here?" And I really just want to say, I clean and I fix the toilets and
I'm guilty of that. So
we go to
I
Restaurant
burnt-
Depot.
I say-
Certified janitor.
I say,
I'm like, do we say I'm the owner? Because that kind of makes me cringe a little bit.
Exactly.
Not because I am the owner. I love being the owner. I
Right.
love what we do. But
It's like bragging.
I don't want to
And I feel like I'm bragging, and I
I
makes
say
me
head
feel-
custodian
yeah.
all the time.
That's
Yeah,
what
it's
it is.
good.
Head custodian.
Yeah.
Head
You told me you're the head
custodian.
custodian. Yeah.
What?
So I
Head
said certified
custodian.
janitor.
Love that.
I
remember
still
when-
stumble over that. I'm a bartender.
when Jason Newman came, one of the times at Rabbit Hole, it was last year for the golf tournament. I've known Jason Newman almost my entire life, and he walks, and I walk in. Hey, what are you doing here?
And he was just jacking with you, right?
No, he had no idea.
Didn't
He
know.
was serious.
Yeah.
He didn't know
I loved
he
it.
was one of
Did
the
that
owners.
humble you? Like, that was like,
No, I
not
loved it.
humble you, but
Yeah.
like,
I was kind of shocked.
you were like, come on, man.
I was kind of shocked. But then whenever they said, no, he's one of the owners. Oh, wow. Sorry, like, wow. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but when I heard that one time, and I hate to think that that's really what people do, because I think, really what shows people's true characters is how they treat the janitor and how they treat the president. And I remember one day in my high school, and this is a little off subject, but I saw the principal mopping up throw up in the middle of the hallway. That said something to me. And 9 years later, no, I'm just kidding. No, this many years later, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that as plain as day. He literally, this sounds cliche, had his sleeves rolled up, the mop bucket, and mopping.
And we've all done it.
Absolutely.
Oh my God!
Absolutely.
We've had our hands,
Nobody
down
is-
the toilet
too
like,
good
it's
for
like we're trying to deliver a cow.
Yeah.
I
Hand up
mean,
the toilet.
Deliver a baby calf.
dude.
I haven't done that in a while. We're certified janitors now. Like, we should
Golly.
be
And so
master
that's
plumbers,
it.
electricians.
People
Well,
think
you
that
name it, yep.
that owning a bar is just a beautiful, luxurious thing all the time, and it is a lot a lot of work.
No,
Yeah.
it's home ownership. It's therapy. You're a therapist. You're an electrician. You break up fights. It's the weirdest thing. You get a really huge
Clean up,
broad
throw up.
combination of
Last night that
everything.
just hit me. Literally, everybody, like, kind of what we explained about, like, going out their way to help one another, to do the things that nobody else would do, were sitting at the table last night.
Yeah.
They were sitting at the table last night.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen Clayton clean up, throw up. I've seen Keith on the floor scrubbing. Everybody that was willing to do that, they were sitting at the table last night.
Yeah, that's a
Pretty
good
cool.
point.
I understand. I didn't think about it until just now. And that's why they're all in the position that they're in now.
And that's the reason you guys are in the position y'all are in, for sure. I mean, it wasn't, I didn't look at any other employees and go, man, I have to take them along.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
And that's what I've always said is, and you know, the way I like to think about with Cody, with, you know, Shay out in Richardson, it's like, if we open another spot, you should give me no doubt you're coming with. You're some sort of person in this role, because you did me so good over here. I need to promote you over here, because that you bought in to what we're doing, and we're able to be successful because of those type people. So I think that again hones right back into the people that you put around you and the experience they have.
Experience is a lot, and I didn't feel like I had enough experience prior to Richardson, so I made a hard choice during that time 2.5 years ago, and you know, I did it out of respect to everybody in this room. You know, I made the choice to not go with him to Richardson. I didn't have the confidence in myself to do that at that time.
Yeah.
Now, could y'all have led me and taught me? Absolutely. There should have been no ifs, ands, or buts about it, but
You were
that's
still
the choice that I
nocturnal then.
made. And I was still,
You were still
there was a
nocturnal.
lot of factors.
Yeah, you were still
So-
nocturnal. We'll just say that. She lived a nocturnal life, but she ran the bar at night. So that's, you know, that was another part of it. It's not,
You know,
it's a lot of hours.
factors.
So, yeah, go ahead.
Speaking of us, like having to do everything, this will kind of take it back to the original subject is the maintenance of the building. So when you're picking your location, but I think that was my biggest shock coming into this. You don't realize how much maintenance there is to keep a building running, especially one that has hundreds of drunk people. And they're not drunk, but drinking people, right? And they don't treat your stuff like it's their own. They'll flush airplane bottles down the toilet. They'll flush
High noon cans.
high noon cans down the toilet. They'll undergarments
when you said that, I
in
was
the
like-
toilet, everything. And so that was my biggest surprise. So like when you're looking at your location, finding something that maybe is newer is sometimes nice.
Durable.
You know,
better.
are they commercial grade toilets? How long has this 3-compartment sink been here? How are these pipes old ones? Are they new ones? You
Yeah.
know, stuff like that.
New
just
HVAC.
because it's being used and abused.
Yeah.
And I think that if you guys
Continuously.
have any questions, I think at some point, if y'all want us to talk about like the ins and outs of the actual negotiating leases and everything that goes into that, because there's a lot into that. I think that could be its own little stint now that I'm thinking about it. So
Yeah.
if y'all want to know how we've negotiated incredible leases, just drop a comment and we'll definitely touch on it in another episode or help you and answer any questions on the side that we can, because that is one big deal. Like Bailey mentioned earlier, is the location, but the location and how much you're paying for that.
Per square foot.
Yeah, and how long is it going to take you to get open?
What's the,
The things that you have to know to negotiate. You can negotiate free rent for months. You can negotiate your triple nets. You can negotiate your percentage rent. Like, we don't pay percentage rent on any of our locations because I negotiated that out of it. I will.
TI.
I won't. Don't want to
build-out.
do that. Yeah, you got to know to ask for TI, because they're not going to offer these things to
No.
you. They want your money. So I think that could be a really good follow up to this. And if you guys have any questions on that, that's something I think we're all very knowledgeable on, that we could, life lessons have taught us. So, but I think that that's a pretty good start to, you know, a couple list things that you need: your location, your niche. Don't do it if you never had the experience.
Don't.
And you know, what was the other one we did?
But good people around you.
Put the good people around you. I think that's really the beginning recipe. I think, you know, we can go into our next episode what it actually cost, because where I budgeted for $125,000 at Rabbit Hole, I spent over $500,000. Where we budgeted for very little at Richardson, we spent almost $300,000. So funding and capital is a very big thing to make sure that you have, because if you don't, you can sink your ship very quickly. Y'all remember when we were looking at the other location up White Settlement Road is 5,300 square foot. And I called Emil and I said, hey man, I've got about $250,000 to $300,000 cash right now. And he said, well, how big is it? I said, 5,300 square foot. He said, Chris, you're going to run out of money. No, I won't, Emil. Chris, I'm telling you right now, unless you have $1 million to spend in that building, you will run out of money. Rabbit Hole is 2,200 square foot with the patio, and I spent $500,000.
Yeah.
He was dead right. But how many bars and restaurants has he opened? 10, 12?
A lot.
He's experienced, and that's another thing. The people around you, lean on them. You know, a mentor is a very big thing to have in your pocket. Luckily, I had John Hinkle, I had Matt McIntyre, and I had Emil. Those were the three people I called when I had big questions, when I was getting hit with TABC things or lost, you know, these type things. Lean on the people that know what they're doing. And again, that goes right back into, if you've never done it, you can find yourself in a world of hurt. Hundreds of thousands of dollars world of hurt. So I think that's another episode, but I think it's an extremely important one, especially with what we went through in Richardson, Rabbit Hole, and what we are currently living right now. So, yeah.
And
You guys have anything to add to the end?
No, I was going to say, and even like you said, even if you have all the funding in the world and you have all the money in the world, you're just going to light it on fire if you have no experience. So,
Absolutely.
Be cautious.
Perfect.
Well, guys, next episode.
Yeah.